Colorado is also a leader in this way. And if you compare the health costs that we have in Texas, the health costs are in areas of Texas are very high. Health costs in Colorado are not nearly as high, but the outcomes are the same. So, you know, it should be telling us that we're spending more than we need to. And of course, a huge study just came out from the Institute of Medicine saying just exactly that. We're wasting. Are we spending $750 billion a year, and it's not going to help people out? It's not improving their health. So I would support the Affordable Care Act because, you know, it addresses our problem of 45 million Americans who don't have health insurance. It puts 32 more million Americans on health insurance because the statistics show, the data says, the knowledge is that if you don't have health insurance, you're going to live sicker and you're going to die younger. And if other countries have figured out how to do that, to get everybody covered, we ought to be able to do that here as well. So I'm in favor of it. I wish the Affordable Care Act did better in controlling costs. But we do have the Independent Payment Advisory Board that's part of the Health Care Act. It was foolishly called the Death Panel. And it's trying to do things just like the Mayo Clinic and just like the people in Fort Collins are doing, of finding ways to deliver medicine more efficiently. Okay, I'll stop there on healthcare. Anybody, any questions or comments? I know that a lot of you, healthcare is personal. I mean, we all use healthcare. We need healthcare. Okay, well, I'll move on to foreign policy, my last topic. Lincoln, another thing that he said was that he said we should have, and this is not exactly the quote, he said we should have patient confidence in justice because there is no better hope in the world than people working for justice. And let's apply that to some of our big challenges in foreign policy, which is China, Iran, and even Syria right now. And well, so with Iran and their nuclear program, we just had we just witnessed their green revolution, their Twitter revolution, where people in the streets came out against the existing regime that's trying to advocate for, of course, Sharia law and going ahead with their nuclear program. I really think that if we have patience in the Iranian people, because they are a lot more middle class and a lot more modernized, that they will eventually become a modern nation that will join the family of nations. And we have much more cooperation. I think that with Iran, because their pressure of their people is going to change their government. They're going to become more modernized. And I think the same thing is also true in China. And China right now does not have a democracy. But eventually, I mean, with the information age and with the knowledge that they all have, and with the integration of the world's economy, the Chinese government will also become more of a democracy. And we will be able to cooperate. And because if there's one thing that this nation has got to get straight over the next 2 or 3 decades, we've got to manage the rise of China to having a larger economy than ours with maturity and wisdom. We do not want to have a war with China. And it may seem, well, yeah, we all know that. But a lot of times in history, it's not been in the best interest of countries, yet they have found themselves pulled into a war that wasn't best for them. I think really on speaking of foreign policy, I need to mention Afghanistan. But I didn't mention it first because I think that we're basically agreed in this country that we've had too much, we've lost our appetite for strong, large military interventions and regime change. And we are pulling out. I think all parties agree that we should pull out. We want to pull out in a way that gives the Afghanis the best chance of having a stable government where they can have influence in their own way what their government is going to be like. But I do support that we do come home from Afghanistan. All right, any other comments or questions regarding foreign policy? just shielding your eyes up. Okay. All right, well, I've gone over some problems that we have in this nation. And I know that there's a lot of cynicism and distrust that, in this country towards our federal government, especially Capitol Hill, and I have to admit it's pretty well deserved. But we do have the tools for fixing that, is democracy. And the way it should work is that when there's problems in a democracy, people will rise up and try to assume leadership and be among the choices for the population to vote on. And if the people are aware of that and understand the problem themselves, they vote for the people that are proposing change. And right now, if you ask the Gallup organization, what percentage of the population is independent, at least at the end of 2011, it was 40%. Yet there's not a single independent in the U.S. House. And just imagine the change that we had independents start running that had to earn their way. I mean, you got to be better than the Democrat and the Republican, but if make them earn it. But if you have more independents run, and they're better than the Democrat and Republican, we start to get 10, 20, 30, 40 independents in the U.S. House. Just imagine the dynamism that would bring and the change that could come. So there's hope. I'm trying to do my part, and I guess I'll leave it at that for now. And I guess we'll have some more music from Margaret and Elizabeth. So that's all for now, for me. Right with the T-shirt.